Hello friends, welcome to this channel Unique Identity. As in the previous video I told you that I will solve a good conceptual paper of previous year examination of other state exam just like UPPSC. This is the solution and the questions are very much conceptual, and I think in WPSC also there will be some question may be common from this paper. Okay, so from that point of view I am solving this paper. Please listen carefully and take the concept. This will be very much fruitful for you. Okay, first I will solve today question number 1 to 21. This is part 1. Okay, so let's start. First question, in case of gravity dam of base with B, if the resultant passes with an eccentricity of B by 6, what will be the ratio of maximum compressive stress to maximum tensile stress? And the options are these, A, B, C, D. Okay. Now we know that the eccentricity is B by 6 or less than B by 6, then no tensile stress is induced in the section. So the ratio of compressive stress will be by tensile stress equals to compressive stress by 0, that means infinity. So option A is correct answer. Also the ratio of tensile stress by compressive stress will be 0 by compressive stress, that gives the value of 0. Okay, so option A is answer. Second question, if the Froude number of a hydraulic jump is more than 9, this jump will be classified as weak jump, strong jump, oscillating jump, none of these. Okay, now this is very much informative question. Please listen carefully. We know that a hydraulic jump occurs when the upstream flow is supercritical, that means Froude number greater than 1. Flow will go from supercritical to subcritical, that means Froude number greater than 1 to Froude number less than 1 over a jump. According to Chow 1959, a strong jump occurs when Froude number is greater than 9. Here the hydraulic jump, the Froude number is 9 greater than 9, so it is strong jump. Also you should know that a steady jump occurs when Froude number is in between 4.5 and 9. A oscillating jump occurs when Froude number is in between 2.5 and 4.5. A weak jump occurs when Froude number is in between 1.7 and 2.5. Okay, and an undulant jump occurs when Froude number is in between 1 and 1.7. And also you should know that the base jump occurs when Froude number is in between 4.5 to 9. Okay, so here the option is B, strong jump. Next question, distance Q in a triangular wire varies as you all know, the answer will be D, h to the power 2.5. I am giving you the explanation. Here this is the derivation, that Q equals to CD into 8 by 15 h to the power 5 by 2 root over 2g into tan theta by 2. Okay, so Q varies as h to the power 5 by 2, that means h to the power 2.5. So option D is correct. Next I am giving also for rectangular notch. Here Q equals to 2 by 3 CD into L into root over 2g into h to the power 3 by 2. So for rectangular notch Q varies as h to the power 1.5. Okay, but here this is triangular wire, so it is h varies as h to the power 2.5. Next question number 4. In a confined aquifer, one of the following condition occur. Okay, now option C is correct. Water is under pressure between two impervious strata. I am explaining why. You all know that confined aquifer is bounded between two impervious or very less permeable soil strata or rocks. Okay, in confined aquifer, water is under pressure or artesian pressure. What is artesian pressure? That is pressure above the atmosphere pressure, because in that case water is sandwiched between two impervious layer or rock. Okay, so option C is correct. Next is A numerical question from fluid mechanics. A rectangular channel carries a discharge of 15 cumecs at depth of flow as 1.5 meter and a bed slope as 1:1440. If only slope is changed to 1:1000 with same depth of flow, discharge will be, and these are the options. Okay. Now we know as per Manning's formula, V velocity equals to 1 by n r to the power 2/3 s to the power half. Okay. So Q equals to A into V. So here Q by s to the power half, that means root over of s is equal to constant. As the depth of flow is constant, so R will be constant and A will be also constant. So here Q by root over s will be constant. So first S1 equals to 1 by 1440 and S2 is equal to 1 by 1000 and Q1 equals to 15 cumecs. So Q2 equals to, putting the value, we get 12.5 cumecs. So option D is correct. Next is, for a uniform flow with depth 0.6 meter and fluid number of 2.0 in a rectangular channel, the specific energy will be, we know that the specific energy equation is E equals to Y plus V square by 2G. Okay. Here fluid number equal to 2.0. So V by root over GY equals to 2.0. So V square by G equals to 2.4. Putting the value, we get E equals to 1.8 meter. So option D is correct. Okay. Next is question number 7. In a horizontal rectangular channel, the conjugate depth of flow before and after the hydraulic jump are observed as 0.25 meter and 1.25 meter. The energy loss due to jump will be, and these are the answer. We know that the energy loss E equals to Y2 minus Y1 whole square by 4Y1 into Y2. Here Y2 equals to 1.25 meter and Y1 equals to 0.25 meter. So putting the value, we get E equals to 0.80 meter. So option A is correct. Next, the discharge through a V notch varies with, here the same question has been asked in question number 3, that V notch means the triangular notch or triangular wear. So here Q equals to CD into 8 by 15 h to the power 5 by 2 root over 2g into tan theta by 2. So Q varies as h to the power 5 by 2. Okay. Next, question number 9. A trapezoidal channel with a base width of 5 meter and side slope 2 horizontal is to 1 vertical conveys water with a depth of 1.0 meter at a velocity of 3.13 meter per second. The flow in the channel will be, and these are the options. Now we know fluid number equals to V by root over of 2G. Fluid number equals to V by root over of GY equals to 3.13 by root over of 9.1 into 1. That gives the value of 1.0. Okay. So flow is critical. As we know that when the fluid number is unity, then the flow is critical. If the fluid number would greater than 1, then it will be supercritical. If it is less than 1, then it will be subcritical. Okay. So here the flow is critical. Now question number 10. As per IS code, the minimum grade of concrete for design of pre-stressed concrete structure, these are the options. Now there are two cases of pre-stressed concrete structure. One is pre-tension system, another is post-tension system. Okay. So as per 456/2000, a minimum grade of M40 for pre-tension system, and for post-tension it is M30. Okay. So option D, M30 is the answer. Now question number 11. In a slab, the minimum reinforcement using steel of grade Fe415 is, as here there are 4 options. Option A is correct. I am explaining why. As per IS 456/2000, clause number 26.5.2.1, minimum reinforcement. The mild steel reinforcement in either direction in slab shall not be less than 0.15% of the total cross-sectional area. However, this value can be reduced to 0.12% when the high strength deformed bar or welded wire fabric are used. Okay. So Fe415 is high strength deformed bar, so it is 0.12%. If it would Fe250, then it would be 0.15%. Okay. Next, question number 12. If the nominal shear stress tau V, here there was some printing mistake. It is not only V, there is tau V exceed the design shear strength of concrete, that is tau C, not C, that is tau C. The shear reinforcement as per IS 456 will be provided for shear stress equals to, and these are the options. So as per IS 456 2000 clause 40.4, design of shear reinforcement, when tau V exceeds tau C given in table 19, a shear reinforcement shall be provided in any of the following, that is vertical stirrup, bend up bar, along stirrup and inclined stirrup. When bend up bars are provided, their condition towards shear resistance shall be more than half that of the total shear reinforcement, and total shear reinforcement will be Vu minus tau C BD. Okay. So the answer will be tau V minus tau C. That amount of shear reinforcement should be provided. Okay. So option C is answer correct. Next is question number 13. The purpose of high tensile strength steel wire in pre-stressed concrete is to provide adequate bond stress, to impart compressive stress in concrete, to resist tensile stress. All of the above will be the correct answer. Okay. Because high tensile strength wire gives all the options here given. So option D is correct. Next, question number 14. Which of the following losses occur only in post-tensioning pre-stress concrete structure? As previously I told you that there are two types of tensioning, that is one is post-tensioning and one is pre-tensioning in pre-stress concrete structure. Now here the correct answer will be loss due to friction, because frictional loss occurs only in post-tension beam when the cable is stressed. Friction between the sides of the duct and the cable does not permit full tension to be transmitted. Therefore, at a point of away from the jacking end, pre-stress is less. Okay. So option A is correct. Now question number 15. This is a tricky question. Please listen carefully. In WBPSC or any other state examination, this type of question may be asked. This is a tricky question. Minimum reinforcement in a circular concrete column as per IS 456 is. Very simple question. 4 bar, option A, 4 bar of 12 millimeter. Option B, greater of 0.80% cross sectional area or 4 bar of 12 millimeter. Option C, 6 bar of 12 millimeter. Option D, greater of 0.80% of cross sectional area and 6 bar of 12 millimeter. See, here two clauses are being mixed. For rectangular section, it is 4 number of 12 bar. It is okay, but the minimum reinforcement is 0.80%. So for rectangular section, option B would be correct. Similarly, for circular section, 6 number of bar is required. Also lowest is 0.80%. So here option D is correct, greater of 0.80% of cross sectional area and 6 number of bar of 12 millimeter. As here I am giving the solution that as per 456 2000 clause number 26.5.3.1, the minimum reinforcement is 0.8% and less than maximum reinforcement is 6%. Okay. Also the minimum number of longitudinal bars is 6 for circular column and 4 in rectangular column. So these two clauses are mixed. So option D is correct. Please read all the option before choosing the correct answer. And also the bar shall not be less than 12 millimeter diameter. So all the three clauses are mixed in this question. Next, question number 16. Span to effective depth ratio for a continuous beam with steel grade of Fe415 should not be more than, and these are the option. Okay, this is a very simple question and option C will be answered, because as per 456 2000 clause 23.2.1 basic value for span to effective depth ratio for span up to 10 meter, for cantilever this is 7, for simply supported this is 20, and for continuous this is 26. Also you should remember that for span above 10 meter the values in A, that means these values may be multiplied by 10 by span in meter, except for cantilever, in case deflection calculation should be made. Okay, so here option C is correct. Next, question number 17. In reinforced footing on soil, minimum thickness at the edge should normally not be less than, option B 150 millimeter is the answer. I am explaining that clause number 34.1.2 of IS 456 2000, thickness at the edge of footing. In reinforced and plain footing, the thickness at the edge shall not be less than 150 millimeter for footing on soil, nor less than 300 millimeter above the top of the file for footing on piles. Okay, so here option B 150 millimeter is the correct answer. Next, question number 18. The load carrying capacity of a helically reinforced column as compared to that of a tied column is about, option A 5% more is the correct option, because as per Annex B clause B of 3.2 of IS 456 2000, short column with helical reinforcement, the permissible load for column with helical reinforcement shall be 1.05 times the permissible load for similar member with lateral ties or rings. Okay, so here option A 5% more will be correct answer. Next is question number 19. For the purpose of design of reinforced concrete footing, pressure distribution is assumed to be, option A linear is correct. I am explaining why. To simplify the analysis, the pressure distribution beneath the footing is assumed to be linear, and the design based on this assumption compares fairly well with the result of actual studies made in respect of pressure under existing foundation, and hence linear pressure distribution is considered to be acceptable. Okay, so option B linear is the correct answer. Next, question number 20. This is a very good question. Please listen carefully. Question may be asked from this also. Hook tension in RCC water tank shall be resisted by steel alone, concrete alone, partly by concrete, partly by steel, none of the above. Okay, I am first explaining that there are two conditions. One is SLS, that means service condition, and one is ULS, that means ultimate limit state condition. First, service condition, that means service limit state condition. Section is designed as uncracked. Okay, and steel section is converted into similar section of concrete. You know the conversion by modular ratio to test the design strength. Okay, and hook tension is resisted by both concrete and steel. So in general case, option C is correct, that is partly by concrete and partly by steel. Here there is another case also, that is for ultimate limit state ULS, the section is designed as cracked. Okay, so in that condition hook tension is resisted by steel alone. Okay, so assuming that the question has been asked for service condition, option C is correct. Okay. Next is question number 21. The factor used to account for the difference in strength indicated by cube strength and the strength of concrete in structure. Option A is correct, 0.67, as you all know. Okay. For design purpose, the compressive strength of concrete in structure shall be taken as 0.67 times the characteristic strength. Okay. This 0.67 factor is introduced to account for the difference in the strength indicated by cube test and the strength of a concrete in actual structure. Okay. So option A is correct. Next is question number 21. The working stress method of design, the RC member is known as, here the answer will be option B, deterministic approach. I am explaining why. Working stress method of design RC member is deterministic approach, because here we are assuming that all the force from dead load, live load, seismic load, wind load, all are coming simultaneously. Okay. So whole figure from different load we are taking, but in actual condition all the loads does not come at the same time. Okay. So that is why limit state is assumed. So limit state method of design RC member is probabilistic approach, because here some percentage of each load is taken to make the section economical. Okay. So working state is deterministic and limit state is probabilistic approach. Please mind it. Okay. So this is the solution for part 1 of UPPSC 2013. This is very much useful for WBPSC also. Okay. So please listen carefully and take the concept whatever I am giving you. Okay. Next video, in the next video I will upload the next part. Okay. And I think all you are being useful seeing my video. I will upload more and more video. To stay tuned, please subscribe this channel and share this video with your friend so that all will be benefited, and please comment if you have anything doubt, okay, about this video. So that's all for today. Thank you very much and all the best for your future endeavor.